Do not be afraid. Christ is here.
Well boys, hope everyone's doing well. Today's video is just going to be a very short, very quick one. The main purpose of which is that I was thinking to myself, Jeff, when you're exercising, you do multiple things. First of all, you relieve stress. Second of all, you build a better, more capable, stronger, healthier body. That's many things. And third of all, you teach yourself Spanish. And then I was thinking to myself, if I'm teaching myself Spanish whilst I'm exercising, surely the boys out there could be learning a bit of Spanish themselves, or learning another language, perhaps it's Arabic, Mandarin, whatever, whilst they're exercising. And so I thought I'd record the video, let you boys in on the secrets of how I do it. So the first way in which I learn Spanish whilst I'm exercising, now Spanish is for me, maybe it's another language for you, maybe it's something totally different, maybe you don't want to learn a language, but you just want to optimize your time exercising. The first way in which I do it is when I am doing cardio, okay? Now I'll put a small clip on in just a moment of me doing cardiovascular exercise. This particular exercise is on the bike, the static bike. I'm just cycling and I'm reading a Spanish book, okay, and I'm translating it as I go. So I'm reading the book. Normally, if I wasn't recording, I'd have Google Translate. I'd have it sat down in front of me. I'd be reading the book, and then when I stumble upon a word that I'm not familiar with, I will take the phone, type in the word, I'll write it on the book, and then going forward, I've got that word translated for me. And then if I reread the book at a later time, I can remember the word. And that's how I tend to do it. So I'll put a clip of that on now. Pero que no vaya nunca a buscar nidos al campo, porque es peligroso. But he must never go to look for nests in the countryside, because it is dangerous. Cuatecitos, hay una sola cosa a la cual deben tener gran miedo, son los perros. Small parentheses. There is only one thing that you must have great fear for. They are the dogs. And the second way that I learn Spanish whilst I'm doing my exercise is that I do it whilst I am stretching. Stretching is just as important as the exercise itself, as is cardio, because you can have all the muscle in the world and then have a heart attack when you're 45 because you neglected cardio. In the same manner, you could have all the muscle in the world and then become immobile by the time you're 50 because you neglected stretching, okay? We all know men that can't put their hands behind their back, okay? It's very important to do. Being flexible is very important. It's equally as important as the strength, especially as you start getting older into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and so forth. And so what I find is that I have dedicated stretching sessions for that important reason, but it's dead time. I'm stretching, my body is not gaining any additional muscle, my mind isn't being worked. Some people can think it's quite mundane, okay? What I used to do is I used to listen to podcasts whilst I was stretching, because at least that way I'm getting some sort of stimulation. I'm still learning something. But what I decided to do instead is to utilize that time by learning Spanish. So I have Duolingo on my phone. Every night I do about 10 minutes of stretching, it's not a lot. And during which time I will be using Duolingo on my phone, okay? Now I know what you're thinking, if you're doing the stretching, won't it distract you from the exercises themselves? Not the case at all, boys. I'm gonna put a quick video of me rolling around on the floor doing some stretches in just a moment, and you'll see that during the same time, I'm also doing Duolingo. Only a very simple speaking exercise, but this helps me nonetheless with the pronunciation of phrases in Spanish, okay? So I'll put a clip of that on now. She was fishing when it started to rain. Ella pescaba cuando empezó a llover.
El niño estaba feliz con su tambor.
Tambor, no lo sé.
Tambor.
Drum. El niño estaba feliz con su tambor nuevo. The boy was happy with his new drum.
Yo siempre escribía en mi diario.
I always write in my diary. Yo siempre escribía en mi diario. Or I always used to write. Or I was always writing.
Mis tías miraron la tele anoche.
Mis tías miraron la tele anoche.
Cuando mirabas tú esos videos,
Cuando mirabas tú esos videos. When did you used to show those videos? When were you watching those videos? Sí, porque mirabas es en el tenso pasado.
tú dibujabas en la sala cuando yo te llamé.
You were drawing in the living room. And you called me. Tú dibujabas en la sala cuando te llamé. When I called you. When I called you, not when you called me. Right, boys, so as you can see, I'm managing to learn Spanish whilst I'm doing cardio and whilst I'm stretching, okay? Now, if you want to go crazy, I'm sure you could figure out some way to throw it in there between sets whilst you're actually exercising, but personally, when I'm lifting the weights, I need that intensity, I need that constant stimulation with regards to the caffeine, the music, the vibe, that you need to feel that electricity within the gym when you're lifting weights. At least I do. If I want to have a good lifting session, anybody can go in there and lift any sort of weights, okay, whilst doing Spanish. It wouldn't be the hardest thing to do. It wouldn't be a scientific revolution to say, but what it would do is it would deduct from that intensity if you're taking a moment, getting some answers incorrect on Spanish, and then going back to deadlifting, for example. It would just take the oomph, you know, the pizzazz out of your step. And so I don't do it whilst I'm actually performing the exercises. Just in the same way, hypothetically speaking, I also do jiu-jitsu in between rolls. Technically, I could get some Spanish in, but why would I? You know, when I'm in the jiu-jitsu, I'm in the jiu-jitsu. When I'm in the gym, I'm in the gym. However, when I'm doing cardiovascular exercise, this isn't a goal of mine. If I was a world-class cyclist, okay, and I was just doing weightlifting as a way to build a little bit more power, maybe I would be focusing more on doing the Spanish when I'm weightlifting, okay? But I'm not. I focus mainly on building strength, building muscle, and jiu-jitsu. So I'm not going to do Spanish with these exercises when I'm doing this form of sport. Okay, but I hope that helped you boys. Now, as I said, if I was a world-class cyclist, if you guys are an athlete with regards to running, cycling, whatever, first and foremost, sprinkle a bit of Duolingo in between your sets, okay, when you're in the gym. If you are a massive yoga instructor, meditation is of the utmost importance to you, sprinkle a little bit of Duolingo in other ways. Don't do it when you're doing the yoga, but do it when you're cycling, do it when you're weightlifting, okay? Do it on the other parts of your training, because ultimately the three core components of any good weightlifting regime are firstly lifting the weights, secondly doing the cardiovascular exercise, and thirdly doing the stretching, okay? So you can sprinkle Spanish or whatever language in between those, and then you can learn a language whilst you exercise. Very simple way of doing it, boys, okay? Works for me. Puedo hablar no fluido, pero estoy muy cerca. Estoy muy cerca. Puedo tener una conversación con una persona en la calle y sí tengo problemas con mis tensos y con mi gramática, pero mi vocabulario es bueno porque estoy aprendiendo español cuando estoy usando mis aplicaciones, mis libros durante mis ejercicios. Okay, boys? Through using the books, through using the applications, I'm becoming better and better at Spanish every time I do it, okay? It does not deduct from the quality of the cardio exercise, okay? Sure, if I was doing HIIT training, maybe I wouldn't do it then. But if I'm sitting on a static bike anyway, getting some low resting heart rate, cardiovascular exercise in, I can throw Spanish into there too. And if I'm doing stretches, okay, I can throw Spanish into there too, and it works, okay? Thank you very much for watching, boys. It was just a short video running you through this little tidbit of mine, because I thought to myself, I'm doing this, surely the boys might be able to learn a thing or two about doing this as well. And I hope you enjoyed. All right, I'll see you on the next video. Hasta mañana, mis gringos. Adios.